Proposition 139 is a ballot measure that calls for expanding abortion rights to the point of fetal viability. It would essentially establish a constitutional right to abortion in Arizona. Now, we scheduled a debate on the measure for tonight, but proponents of Prop 139 declined to appear, and so we hear from the opposing side. Cindy Dahlgren joins us now. She's from the It Goes Too Far campaign against Prop 139. Welcome to Arizona Horizon. Good to have you here.
Thanks, Ted.
Thank you. Establishing a constitutional right to abortion. Why not?
Well, let's start with the fact that abortion is legal in Arizona up to 15 weeks, and then beyond that for any medical emergency. And also, girls and women who seek abortions under current law are ensured that they see a qualified medical doctor, and they have common sense safety precautions in place to protect girls and women from the complications of abortion, like hemorrhaging and perforated uterus, which can be deadly. But Prop 139 makes those common sense safety precautions impossible to enforce. And if you look at the language itself, it says that no regulation can, quote, infringe on a woman's decision to get an abortion, including safety precautions.
Well, so the 40-some-odd state restrictions that are in place regarding abortion, are you saying they would not still apply? Because I've heard that they would still apply.
No, they will not apply. Most of them will not apply. Some of the critical ones will not apply. And that includes, first of all, the qualified medical doctor. Under this amendment, you'll see that in the amendment, it doesn't even use the term doctor or physician. So it removes the required medical doctor with the expertise to detect and then respond to medical emergencies. That goes away. And also the critical requirement for an ultrasound. It's critical because if a woman does not get an ultrasound and she takes the abortion pill and she has an ectopic pregnancy, it could be fatal. If she takes it beyond the point at which the FDA has approved it, it could also be very serious. And after she takes the abortion pill, if she doesn't have an ultrasound to ensure that it was complete and there are still remains in her uterus, it could cause very serious infections. And that happens. I recently spoke with a woman here, a young woman, Mackenzie, that happened because the abortion pill was not complete and she was having persistent infections, and that was a problem they didn't know until she had that ultrasound.
So I want to be clear here. The ultrasound, parental consent if under 18, 24-hour wait after the ultrasound, mandatory counseling. You're saying all of those things go by the wayside if this is passed?
Yes, and also informed consent, which is also critical because you're talking about women and girls getting all the information regarding the risks of an abortion and what to expect before they have one. And we know this because in Michigan and Ohio, they passed similar abortion amendments there in those states, and they immediately started losing these safety precautions. In both states, women there lost the right to see a qualified medical doctor. They lost the right to an ultrasound to protect them. They also lost the right for informed consent, also reporting requirements. The list goes on.
When you say you lost the right, you lost the requirement. You lost the mandate to do that. They can still get these things done if they so choose.
Well, under Prop 139, again, the word doctor or physician is not in the amendment. So right now, any girl or woman in Arizona who seeks an abortion is guaranteed they will see a qualified medical doctor. And they're also guaranteed to get that ultrasound to protect them and make sure that they can either take the abortion pill or they can get an abortion, depending on how far along they are in that pregnancy. So there are a lot of reasons. There are a lot of things that girls and women can count on to protect them, and that were actually put in place after a woman died. After having an abortion, a botched abortion, she bled to death. There was a perforated uterus, and they were not watching her, and she bled to death. So since that happened, these safety precautions were put in place to avoid those kinds of things, and now they'll go away.
And yet, the other side, I'm sure, will say that this is still a decision that needs to be left up to the woman, to the family, to the medical provider, MD, whatever you want to call them. This is still their decision. It should not be the government's decision, and this Proposition 139 allows for that woman, that family, to make that decision. How do you respond?
Well, we have that right now. We have that right now where a woman or a girl can make that decision and get an abortion up to 15 weeks. That's almost 4 months. And then beyond that for any medical emergency. And we also have the doctor requirement, and we also have those safety precautions in place. Under Prop 139, you lose those safety precautions, you'll lose that required medical doctor, and you will get expanded abortion. It's actually beyond viability. It's through the entire pregnancy for virtually any reason.
Well, it doesn't sound like it's virtually any reason. It has to be the physical and mental health of the pregnant person, the woman. That doesn't sound like it's any reason. I mean, the fetal viability, I know, is a big arguing point on this, but it sounds as though that you will have a medical provider there who is basically saying that if it goes past viability, there better be a pretty doggone good reason for it.
Well, that's not true. Actually, what happens is the exemption is the physical or mental health of the woman. And if you look, so that doesn't necessarily mean that her health is at risk. If you look at the ruling by the U.S. Supreme Court in Doe v. Bolton, you will see just how broad that exemption is. It doesn't mean that the woman's health is at risk. It could mean that she is stressed or experiencing anxiety. The Supreme Court said that it could include anything that goes to her well-being. That's a very broad term, and that decision was made in 1972, and it has been used as a rubber stamp for the past 5 decades to sign off on any late-term abortion. I also would add that part of their redefinition of viability includes the term depending on the particular facts of the case, which is so broad, there's no limitation that could stand up under that.
We're running out of time here, but again, the idea of putting this important family decision into the hands of a family, into the hands of a woman, as opposed to the government, as opposed to, frankly, you and me, who aren't in that family and don't know what's going on there. Proponents will say that's what they're arguing for here, that's what they want people to vote on. Again, your response.
My response is there are a lot of private scenarios, right? If a woman gets a hysterectomy or tubal ligation, that's very private. But those doctors still follow common sense laws that elected representatives put in place to ensure a very high standard of care and to ensure that women are the priority. And it should be no different with abortion. And we know that we need these laws in place because left up to the industry, it won't happen because they're right now lobbying against these kinds of common sense safety precautions.
Real quickly, this is my last question. I was fibbing there. Again, the idea that this restores the rights from Roe, and I will hear some proponents say that's all that does. Do you disagree with that?
Absolutely. It goes far beyond Roe, and this is why. Under Roe v. Wade, states could enact limitations, they could enact safety precautions, they could ensure that only qualified medical doctors see women, they can ensure that parents have the right to know if their minor daughter is involved or is getting an abortion. And under Prop 139, you can have none of that. So it goes far beyond Roe.
We have to stop you right there. Cindy Drahlgren, again, it goes too far. And again, we certainly wish we'd had proponents here for a debate, but we didn't. And we're glad to hear from you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.